Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to another episode of Lack of Focus, episode 20, Kraytvasion, brought to you by Of Unspeakable Cults, otherwise translated as...
I can't have myself muted there. I have to unmute there. Von Unerspecklichen Kulten.
Thank you, Kris. I appreciate it. I am, of course, a little under the weather, but I am Ed Horne, your host. Alongside me tonight, my partner in crime and gaming, one Mr. Chad Kramer. Chad, how's it going?
Chad who?
Chad Bray. Oh my God, what the fuck?
Staying in.
4 hours of driving today.
Train wreck.
Train wreck. Pick it back. I'm just going to pick it back up from there.
See, it's a Kraytvasion. This is how we're going to leave it.
Just leave it just like that, and then I'll give you our intro to put over it. It'll be perfect.
Good God. What is... I'm picking it right back up. Sorry.
It's gone full credit.
I have.
I'm gonna punch you for that.
Sorry. I apologize. I mean that.
Holy fuck.
Alongside my co-host, my partner in crime and gaming, one Mr. Chad Brown. Chad, how's it going, my friend?
Hey, everybody.
Our producer extraordinaire, one Mr. Kris Sheriff. How are you?
Good, thanks, Ed.
And our special guest from the Krayt podcast himself, one Mr. Kris Allen. Kris, how's it going, my friend?
I feel contractually obligated to give that. Hey, everybody. Going well, though.
So I'm going to apologize ahead of time. I've spent the last 6 hours or 5 hours at a water park with my kids and screaming a lot, so my voice is horrible. So I'm going to let most of these guys do a lot of the talking tonight. But however, these guys were out at the Krayt Cup 4, and we're going to have some interesting conversation about that. Of course, we've got the news of the new Vulture Droids and Buzz Droids. Can't wait to talk about those. And the ARC 170. So all of that and a lot more is going to be coming up right after this.
If you like codes, this game has codes. Just buy a code.
I painted mine green.
Then find a friend who also likes codes. Then you can fight codes.
I'm saying the spell.
Madness and death, so fun to play. You can fight codes every day. So if you like codes, we can play codes. Von Unerspecklichen Kulten.
Von Unerspecklichen Kulten, the game of cultish chaos. Despite what this video implies, this game should not be played by boys or girls under the age of 18. And probably not by human beings at all. Don't say we didn't warn you.
If you like codes, we can play codes. Von Unerspecklichen Kulten.
All right, we're back, and in the flight deck, we're going to cover over, hopefully, non-Krayt Cuppy stuff that everyone's been flying. I have not played any games recently. I've had way too much going on in my life. Chad, I'm going to pass it over to you. Have you played any X-Wing recently?
Well, with having to stay off my foot as much as possible, I actually haven't gotten out since the last episode. I've pretty much been held up here in my apartment, so not really doing anything, trying to get my foot to heal.
Nope, totally understand.
Just
so we will
painting
pass
still.
it. Yep. So we will pass it on to the folks that actually have stuff to talk about. Kris, why don't we start with you, Mr. Sheriff? We'll start there. I've got two Krises. I need to remember this now.
Well, I played some casual games in the store and stuff with the locals. We streamed on Friday some Chinook Squadron X-Wing game night thing. So I ran a stupid extended list there. So I ran Sutnia Fell, Redline with advanced sensors, protons, and Death Rain with proton bombs, proton trajectory simulator, and bombardier. And no bid, because why would I need a bid with advanced sensors, Redline, and Fell? It seems like not needed. And it turns out when you play against people who are all initiative 3 or less, it's a stupidly good list that you just wreck face. When you play against people who are initiative 5 or higher with a bid, you lose. It was unknowable.
It's a shocking development.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
I played against the 4-ship resistance, like the 555s, Nien, Elo, Lilu, and Tally. I think that's right. And he had like a bid of anything. And I was like, oh, look at that. You're just out of range again. Oh, okay. I'm glad I target locked. I hope Redline doesn't like not shoot again. So that was fun. Then I played some real games at Krayt Cup because Kris bullied me into playing actual X-Wing instead of A Song of Ice and Fire.
Twice.
Twisted your arm, I'm sure.
Yeah. I took my Vader Pure Sabak, Duchess, and forgot the other one. Wampa, that's the one. That list. So for the actual main event, Jeremy Chamberlain made me put Shield Upgrade on because of the format, which we'll get into. But outside of that, I got asked to be a not buy to make up the numbers in the top 15 Invitational. So I played 2 games in that. I played against Kevin Lines. Is that right? Is that how you pronounce his
Can we
second name?
pause on that for just 1 second? How are the top 50 determined? Just
We
just
can
in
just
case
roll.
people don't
We
know.
can just roll in. Tim makes it up, from what I gather.
There's a complex ranking thing that you take to tournament results, and he prints out rankings.
Yeah, Tim
It
has
seems reasonable.
a definitely not made up system that means you're in the top 50. Especially
All
if
that matters is that I'm exactly 1 rank above Tim, and that's all I need in my life.
or you just turn up and they get asked to play, and it's fine. You know, I am a top 50 player in the US. It's fine.
Those markers.
You
Very
you
impressive.
can't take it away from me.
Yeah. I was going to say, if it was completely made up, I might feel a little offended that I didn't get invited all of a sudden, you know?
Well, you weren't in North Carolina, so.
Well, I could have been.
I had a bed in the hotel room. It's fine. I had 2 beds, I should say. Obviously, it was 1. It'd be a pretty crappy hotel room. So yeah, I played Kevin, and that was a really good game. Definitely didn't trigger heroic on Paul more times than he should have. But apparently he complains that I rolled natties on Vader too much as well, so it all balances out. And I won, and it was awesome. And then
Hang on. No, you didn't win. You made my life hard.
I didn't want to make the cut because I'd had no sleep. I literally landed. My flight was at midnight. I got into North Carolina at about 10 a.m. Got an Uber right to the venue instead of going to a hotel first because I'm an idiot. And then Tim was like, Kris, can you play in the top 50? We've got an odd number. I was like, no. And then, like, well, you should. So, okay. I caved really easily. And
No sleep, no less.
yeah, I didn't want to make the cut because I wanted a shower and a nap because we were supposed to be going out drinking with the Scum and Villainy guys when they got in. So I wanted to make sure I was prepped for that. So, you know, I wanted to hang out with the captain.
So how
Captain
many games
Calvin
did you actually
Tiberius.
get in, though?
2. I played 2. So,
I was going to say,
long
kind of
story
get into it, 'cause
short,
it's kind of important.
I asked all of my opponents before the game, do you care about this event? The first 2 said they just wanted to have fun and play. So we played, and then I conceded at the end when I beat them both. The third opponent said, I really want to win and don't like losing, so I conceded at the start of that game, which really ruined everything.
It did.
You
It did
troublemaker.
ruin
But
everything.
luckily, I was like, okay, I concede now, bye. And then I had a shower and a nap, and the rest of my afternoon was awesome. As far as I'm aware, no problems ensued from my decisions.
no issues arise.
No TOs were pulling their hair out thanks to
Nope.
you.
Chris
I-
definitely didn't go, hey, so I guess I should scoop 200-0 to all my opponents in the interest of fairness? To which I looked at the standings and went, oh, God. It mattered a lot, it turned out.
Well, it's not like the guy who I actually conceded to won the entire event.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Ooh.
So I was salty all weekend that I didn't play that game just so I could have maybe won all 3 and been like, yeah, I'm really the champion.
The
But-
3-0 drop is a very great play.
I did 2-0 and drop. I think that was as good as it was going to get because I honestly was pretty shot at that point. I just remember, I don't even remember who I played in the second game. I just remember telling him that I was role-playing my ships as Vader's target locking Wampa to encourage him to shoot better. And the people on the table next to me are just pissing themselves laughing. And I was very entertaining, but I don't know that I was very good at X-Wing at that point.
Good enough at X-Wing, I guess.
Well, it's
If
still
you don't know what you're doing, they don't.
Yeah, it's still X-Wing. I chose to not join. In fact, no. It was a game. It was running basically the scum list that I've been playing for ages, so I knew exactly where all these ships were going to go before he did, because Fang fighters aren't predictable, honest. They're not the scum version of defenders, it's fine. 3 straight, too hard, it's okay.
Wait,
Did you do
they
the
would never
Canadian
5 straight boost followed by
No.
2-turn boost every turn. Don't be absurd.
The one that really gets... So this is just a Fang fighter player in general, and I guarantee you, if you've played a Fang fight, you've done this. You've 5-straighted, boost into the linked action focus, and then gone, oh, I'm now in between 2 asteroids and can't like maneuver next turn. Oh well. I hope that my opponent's as bad as I am, because then it'll all be okay. Get in range 1 and live. So everyone does it.
I do want to give a quick
Kris
shout
Sheriff.
out.
Oh,
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Go ahead, Go ahead, Jen.
I was gonna ask Kris Sheriff if you did the Canadian thing, and it just at least said sorry, you know.
Oh no, I was well happy when I rolled natties on Vader. I was like, sorry, Kevin, you just suck. Get good. If you wanted MOV to make the cut, you should have beat me. You didn't make the cut because I had to concede to you. If you'd have just won like a man, it would have been fine.
I did want to give a quick shout out to Dion and the Gold Squadron podcast. They streamed the entire weekend, so I got to see not only the Invitational, I got to see the team event, I got to see the main event. He did a fantastic job. So I've been able to, while I wasn't there, I was able to see a lot of it thanks to all the hard work that he put in.
Yeah. Did you catch Name and Chumbi's commentary?
I did not. Which match was that on?
So that was the earlier parts of the Invitational. Once it got to a cut, they got like Dion stepped in and started doing his own commentary. But yeah, the earlier
He
matches...
must not have posted that to his YouTube channel then, because I only saw the ones where he was talking. I wonder why.
I'm pretty sure... I'll find the links for you, because there's some gold in there.
I think you just made my week.
Yeah, the commentary dream team that is Team Texas. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else you want to cover there, Kris, as far as non-Krayt Cup related stuff?
I ruined Jonah's weekend by losing games I shouldn't have lost in the actual event, so that we only went 9-11 instead of 10-10. So I destroyed dreams of a child, so it was a good weekend all around.
Always
did
fun.
you get a chance to play? How did you do in your Game of Thrones event?
So
Even though obviously not X-Wing, but
uh,
it's lack of focus. Where else would we be?
So I got the trophy finished. I managed to get it mounted on a wooden plaque and the nameplate put on it in time. I picked that up the morning I went to get the flight, so that was good. I finished painting the 3 limited edition models that I was going to take down to give away. That was my only goal. So I achieved my goals. Then I played Name, he was playing Night's Watch, and I just won because I think he conceded with like 2 turns left because it was going to swing in my favour, and then we could get an extra game in. And Kris needed help running the Mothfronts. Kris needed help running the self-running tournament. Go figure.
Sure.
And then I played Jeremy, and that was the most fun I've had not playing the game ever. Basically, I was like, okay, I'm going to use this tactics card to let me do this. And Jeremy said no. It's like, Varus says you can't do that. Like, okay, sounds fair. And then I'll do this then. Tywin says you're not allowed to do that. Okay. What about if I do it? No, Tyrion said you have to do something else. Okay. Good. I hope your pyromancers don't set me on fire. Oh, the flames. But yeah, it was good fun. It was playing Jeremy. It was playing Jeremy, so it was really good fun. But yeah, that list was brutal. So we played on the Sunday. I got home on the Monday to an FAQ that says that Varus doesn't work like that anymore. So who
That's
knew?
the best.
That's, as is Krayt Cup tradition, no matter what happens, whatever happens at the event is immediately illegal. Every year, every time.
Yeah, that was really good though. I think we ended up with 8 players for the Song of Ice and Fire tournament, which, considering we didn't actually plan to run a tournament, was pretty good.
It's pretty good.
I felt bad because I didn't really do enough prizes for it to be an event. I think everyone left with something, but yeah. Next time we'll run a real tournament, and then there'll be no X-Wing at Krayt Cup.
That'll be an interesting one. All right, so Mr. Allen, I shall pass it over to you. Do you have anything you'd like to discuss non-Krayt Cup related?
I don't think I've ever been called Mr. Allen in my life.
Congratulations, if this is the first.
Thank you. I'm gonna have to
This is your
to think
first
on that
time.
one for a
After that, I'll go hog wild. But this is the first one I have to pay some respects.
So I had a Wave 2 championship yesterday, or whatever they're called, the not store championships that I did not wake up in time for. And that was all the X-Wing I've played since Krayt Cup.
Oops, the old forgot to set the alarm kind of tournament event.
The alarm did its job.
You've been dodging Tyler on Vassal as well, haven't you?
I've been dodging Tyler on Vassal. I've dodged all the league. There's a Vassal team league I've been dodging, and I've dodged the Vassal league itself. It's really so I am not an extrovert in any sense of the word. So I just went and put my head under a pillow for 2 weeks after Krayt Cup. It was
Totally
time
understand.
free from society.
That's
Totally
probably
understand.
the most lack of focus flight deck we've had. One of the four of us has played games. Normally it's Chad.
Yeah. It's never Ed.
All right, so I would be remiss in not mentioning this. I feel I have to. We have a good old friend from the old days of the show, Bob. Bob has won himself a hyperspace event, a 41-person hyperspace event, and he went with a wedge list, wedge bigs, Horton Som, and a U-wing. So I do want to send my personal congratulations to Bob and congratulations to his event. He did mention coming to Pittsburgh, but we don't actually have one yet. So I assume we're going to be in the second round of those.
Yeah.
I hope.
And then, so he had Selfless on Horton, and he had Bigs. So, look at that, Rebel players. You've been doing it wrong all along. The
Don't
math,
tell them.
the math proves it, man.
You're not allowed to say
The
selfless.
math
They'll
is
learn.
there. But look, if Bob ran it, it means it's mathematically strong. So just run it. You're there. It's easy.
It was interesting to me to see that he wasn't running Scum. I don't remember him ever running Rebels in the past. So I'm gonna have to go back to my archives and see if I ever remember him playing. So I saw that list and I went, "Huh, that's interesting."
I might actually steal it because I've been looking for an unironically good wedge list. Right, and it has 4 ships and wedge. It can't be bad.
Just take out the selfless and take out the bigs. It'll be just as good, I promise.
No, it won't. It won't though. Why you lie? Oh, it'd be a real shame if you shot wedge and didn't kill him.
That would be a pattern. All right, so in the news, we've got 2 other things that dropped. I'm going to, again, hopefully, Kris, if you don't mind carrying a little bit of the weight on this one. 2 things have dropped since we've last talked. One of them being the Vulture droid giving us a little bit more information on Buzz droids. So I'm going to kind of let you run with it if you don't mind.
Can I read the card?
Of course you can. You're the guest. If that's what you want to do,
All right,
by all
hang on.
means, please do.
I think the only new stuff we need, Kris, is Discard missiles. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
But that's 2 cards. It's okay.
It is. Well, I don't even have. Oh, there's Discord missiles. Oh, okay. Here we go. Yasby has stuff in it. I'm good. So it's a triple unique, triple limit. Is it limited?
It's
Limited's
limited,
the
yeah.
word, right?
Limited
Okay.
to 3 per list.
Because triple unique doesn't make sense by English, so FFG would never word a rule like that.
Fair.
a drink.
All right. Discord missiles. At the start of the engagement phase, you may spend 1 calculate.
This is why we don't let you read cards, Kris. Discard missiles, separatist only. Come on, get a
I'm
grip.
reading it in Yasby. I'm not going to actually read the card.
What's wrong with that?
Because I don't have the card in front of me.
Okay, sorry.
Article.
Oh, we'll stop bullying you now. You didn't say please no bully when we started, so.
That's true. Well, even if I did, you'd be bullying me, and you could just lie to people and say that I did.
True.
Anyways, at the start of the engagement phase, you may spend 1 calculate token and 1 charge to launch 1 Buzz Droid swarm using the 3 banks or 3 straight template. This card's charge cannot be recovered, and it's one charge, and it's not recurring because it can't be recovered.
Yep.
So once they're gone, they're gone.
So, thing to note, which I'm pretty sure Alex did wrong on the stream. Shocker, I know.
No, that stream rules were flawless. Nothing
I'm
wrong.
pretty sure when he launched them, he used the 2 bank as well instead of the 3. I wasn't going to type in Twitch chat because he was having so much fun that I didn't want to like destroy his love for the game.
Yeah, well, it's just to make up for the 3 straight decloak that he did. He just had
Oh.
This is how this game works. It's fine.
Which is a large base, right? Don't large bases decloak with the 1 straight?
Yes, they do.
Do what you want, man. Do what you want.
It's
man.
your stream. You do it your way.
I was so happy. With slightly derailing with a typical lack of focus tangent, watching that live stream is the most fun I've had watching an X-Wing stream in a long time. No offense to Dion, he does extremely high quality work, but people having fun playing X-Wing is what I came to see.
And they definitely had some fun, and I wasn't prepared for Max to say the words late stage capitalism, but personal favorite of mine.
Oh man, Max had both of them were just having. It was literally a stream of 2 mates, just playing a game of X-Wing and not caring. Like no fucks were given at all.
So try to reel us back on, and you want to cover the buzz droids?
Oh god, So there were rules like in the article, but I don't know that they're meaningful because it's the article.
Do you want me to read the Buzz Droid Swarm card?
Is it? I mean, yeah, but then we also need to know like how, because it's a remote, right? So we need to know how those work. You know what, Kris?
There'll be a rules
card. Put me in. Beat me in.
Okay. So we have the Buzz Droid Swarm. It is Initiative 0. After an enemy ship moves through or overlaps you, relocate to its front or rear guides. You are at range 0 of this ship. You cannot overlap an object this way. If you cannot be placed at either set of guides, you and that ship each suffer 1 damage. Engagement phase. At your initiative, each enemy ship at range 0 suffers 1 critical damage. It has 3 agility and 1 hull and is a remote. So
how the hell do you get it off?
So,
basically, you shoot this thing and it lands on something and it just does crits until you die.
Or if you put it at the rear, you just fly away from it.
Yeah, so there doesn't seem to be anything on the card that says this sticks to something unless something else happens. So like you put it on the ship.
Oh, okay.
And you put it in the front guides, and then when you move, you'll overlap it. So you'll pick it up again, and then the person puts it in the front guides again. But like, let's say there's a rock in front of you, or like another ship. Another ship's probably the better example. So there's another ship in front of you. So you can't put the buzz droids in front. So now they're behind you, and then the next turn you can just go straight and they go away.
Yeah.
Or if you like barrel roll or something, then you know there's nothing that drags them along with you.
Yeah, so if you've got the barrel roll on your action bar, you just fly over them, they get put in front of you, then you barrel roll off them, and it's fine. Try spinning, that's a neat trick. I don't know.
Something Obi-Wan never learned.
Yeah. But yeah, it seems fine. The one thing that really bothered me about people like having a hissy fit about, oh, you just barrel roll away, it's like, I'm pretty sure you would have rather focused though, because I might shoot you with the rest of my ships. I don't know.
Or you might be in a position where you can't barrel roll.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you're stuck with them.
Or, I mean, you can just launch it and leave it out in open space too, presumably. It's like, hey, I don't want you to go this way.
Yeah, it's the old bomb area control. It's like no one would ever build a wall of bombs and ruin people's days. You know... It's the thing I hate about doing X-Wing podcast YouTube video talk at all now is the following phrase. It's points dependent, obviously, because we don't know. It could be minus 15 points and then it's stapled onto everything ever. Well, 3 of everything. I don't know. But if it's like 20 points, you probably won't take it. That's my analysis. I maybe shouldn't have had all of those beers.
But it was that way in first edition too. So
Yeah,
it was the same
well-
thing. Like it was dial dependent because we hadn't seen the dial yet.
Yeah, now we know
Or-
all the dials, but no points.
Right. Or we'd see the card, but we wouldn't see what the points were. So like we'd see a crew card, but not know how many points. So like I mean, it really does. It's half dozen to one.
Yeah,
It's
6 to
the
1,
same
half
thing.
dozen of the other.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, and you can
it's-
draw some comparisons. Like it's pretty similar to a proton bomb. The timing's better. The launch, it has trajectory simulator built in, but there's some more counterplay involved.
Yeah.
It can also last longer, but like something in that price range is probably what I would expect to be like reasonable. It's not going to be like 1, and it's not going to be like 50.
With the unique, the limited 3 as well, you can probably cost it a little bit cheaper, maybe, because you can't spam it more than 3 anyway. So it's
Couldn't you use that argument for every unique thing though, and then every unique thing's too good, Kris?
Yeah, you could.
I
Well, I'm pretty sure if you made like Fifth Brother Hyperspace legal, no one could spam him. It would be fine. Just give me my
I feel more
passive mods
inside
on
jokes
Duchess.
coming.
Oh. I want Fifth Brother on Duchess to
We
be
know.
hyperspace legal so that
We
I
all
can
know.
cheat. I mean, play skillfully. I promise I won't just evade as my action every time and have Duke as my elite pilot talent now.
It could be Lone Wolf. Both exciting, interesting, fun choices.
It could be Lone Wolf, probably won't be. Okay.
All right, one more article to go over. We've seen a little bit more of the Republic's ARC 170. We do now have names for the generics, and we are going to have the ability to have generic ARC 170, something we've not seen in the game yet before. Anything else to highlight on these?
The paint job is fantastic. I just love a shiny and new arc.
Do we know if the wings articulate?
We don't.
They had it on stream, right? It died before I got to open the stream.
The wings
If you
on
look at
the
it, it looks
scimitar.
like they do.
Yeah, the wings on the scimitar move on Darth Maul's ship.
But if you look at the ARC 170, it looks like it's got the gears in motion that you could expand the wings,
Yeah.
which makes me even more excited for it because I only own 1, and now I'm going to have to own 4.
A very important question.
Yeah.
Everyone agrees that ARCs are like the coolest ship in X-Wing, right? Or in Star Wars, right? This is-
I like them a lot.
No, that's not what I said. The coolest. There's
I'm
the
still
TIE
partial-
aggressor gets, the MVP is not even up for debate. We'll just skip over that one.
I am
second
partial to X-Wings
place-
myself, but
I think
Although
you'd
I
have
think-
to fight off Interceptor because I'm not saying Interceptor is the coolest ship, but the people who do like it are like fanatical nut jobs who would just kill you if you disagreed with them. So I don't know.
What about-
They're allowed to be wrong. It's okay.
what about the K-wing? What do you do then?
Oh God.
Wade is
Yes,
just
no,
wrong. Like
well,
Wade is the only person ever who's ever said, you know what would be neat? K-wings.
And to be in Wade's defense, the second they got popular, he went, "Oh, I only like these because no one else liked them."
The second Aaron Bonner made them sell out at Worlds.
While he was there. All right, one other piece of news too, real quick, since we've only obviously we kind of covered that one. They emergency updated points for a ship literally right after Krayt Cup, and this was
right before Krayt Cup.
Oh, was it right before? Okay, I wasn't quite sure on the timing, so it's right before.
So Kris had a caveat for when he would accept any points changes. Did you want to fill us in on exactly when?
Yeah. Okay. So the schedule is very important. So because I knew people were taking flights to Krayt Cup that Thursday morning was the earliest anyone was coming in. So the points cutoff was February 27th. It's like, okay, surely if FFG is going to update points before Krayt Cup, it wouldn't be on like a Thursday, right? That would be stupid. They do it on Friday, and obviously
be
Friday's
silly.
too late, and people are traveling Thursday, so I don't want people to like bring in their upsilons or bring whatever, and then have it turn out to be illegal mid-flight because that would suck. So we'll make the cutoff for points Wednesday, and everybody's happy, and nothing can go wrong. So I wake up Thursday, Go to work, blah, 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 check my phone, it's exploded. Hey, the points changed. Is this legal for Krayt Cup? It's like, oh no. But this is long-standing tradition. So Krayt Cup 2? Yeah, it must have been 2, was the Palpatine change after we'd already printed our Palpatine fancy, like, combined Omicron group pilot Palpatine promo. Everybody showed up, you know, the week beforehand. They go, hey, this is illegal. And we went, I hate all of you. Krayt Cup 3 was Trajectory Sim and Genius, like, that week. And now Krayt Cup 4, we get Upsilons. So, and, you know, whatever A Song of Ice and Fire things happened.
Yeah, that was it after, like the day after. So
Yeah,
that's
so
fine.
if you ever want anything nerfed, let me know. I'll host a Krayt Cup and we'll get it done.
Yeah. I'll print an alt art card and then
Yes.
FFG will say no. Oh dear.
So more specific though, how do we feel about that? How do we feel about the hot fix of, because they had literally just done a points upgrade a few weeks before, which was the scheduled one, and then all of a sudden pop. So it's one of those things, like, for me, like, well, how did you not see this 3 weeks ago when you were doing it? Why not just do it then? Or was it just waiting those 3 weeks to do it? Or are they just behind? Like, that was the weird part for me.
I think it's twofold for me. One, well, threefold then. We'll go threefold. One, I'm happy that they got rid of the stupid in-your-face, just lack of interaction experience of playing 3 upper songs. That doesn't bother me at all. 2, I'm pretty happy, I think, that they're willing to address something which they specifically said they addressed because it's a negative play experience, not because it's good. So I like that. Then, to address your point of why didn't they just do it before, I don't know. FFG, man, why?
Yeah, because, you know, they could have, like, you know, they published the points for that stuff 3 weeks beforehand, but who knows how long they were sitting on those points. You know, like,
Yeah, I honestly believe that if they weren't $12 on Amazon, it wouldn't have been as big a deal.
And that's why I only bought 2 and not 3.
so you guys that are more like connected to the game store side of things, why are they $12? What happened? Was there like a huge overstock?
Well, we didn't have it. We had one which I bought. So there's a reason why the Calgary Meta is wholesome, and it's because I don't let it be anything other than. I feed in the number of silencers who are allowed to be in Calgary. It's like, no, not everyone can run Kylo Ren. You can have one.
It's like drafting, but with actual product.
Yeah. So in Canada, we obviously have different distribution. It all comes from Asmodee Canada, but they get treated as if they were a store. So Asmodee Canada has to give FFG its numbers. So if they underorder, all of the stores in Canada get fucked. So fun. Mm-hmm. So the supply in Canada isn't necessarily an indication of the supply of them, but I would expect that they bought an absolute metric shitload of them because it's eBay and that's how it's Amazon, that's how they work. So they had pallets of them, and then the game died, and they're like, oh well. And then it'll be, these are getting re-released. So someone will have known that Upsilons mean first order, and they'll have just put them on sale when the conversion kit was coming out.
Yeah, somebody who just way overstocked.
Yeah.
Because it's not necessarily Amazon selling them at $10. It's someone who uses Amazon to sell their storefront or whatever.
This is an awesome store-related tangent now.
It's sort of X-Wing.
This isn't even X-Wing. No, I'm going deep down into...
lost him.
Yeah, we're done. So, you may or may not be aware that you can buy Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition players handbooks on Amazon for a cheap price. The price that you can buy them on Amazon is cheaper than the price your local store can buy them at. So when you go to your store and ask, why is this much? It's like, look, if you buy it on Amazon, it would be cheaper for me to buy it on Amazon and resell it. I would have a larger profit margin than just ordering it from Wizards.
Holy crap.
That has to
So-
be true for a lot of products that sell poorly, right? I mean, where people are like, well, I just want to get this off my shelf, so I'll sell it for whatever.
So the player's handbook though is a really interesting one. Like we've sold like 2,000 player's handbooks and we don't sell online.
Right.
So we've sold like a lot of them. But we found out like a few weeks ago when Wizards stopped doing the map, so there's no advertised retail price for any of their products anymore. So any store that runs Magic is really, really happy about this, honest.
Yeah.
We find out
let them
that
tell you about it.
it's not actually Amazon selling the players' handbooks. It's Wizards selling them through Amazon. So Wizards are telling their own stores to get fucked.
Because, they're not the one that promote the product, hold Friday Night Magic, or whatever day the D&D is done on. Why would you support those guys that have supported you for all
That
those
is
years?
fine.
That makes no sense.
So, unironically, I was chatting to people at Gamma last year, and the reason why Wizards sell stuff that cheap on Amazon is the player's handbook should be $100 book, 100 Canadian, so it should be like an $80 US book or whatever. It's a $60 book because they can sell this many on Amazon, so it's volume of print runs and everything. They get this many printed so they can sell it to the stores cheaper than they would have to otherwise. So it kind of works out, but doesn't. But
Right. And I assume the people buying things on Amazon aren't the people that are going to game stores and have lower budgets and blah, 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 blah. But it sure looks dumb.
yeah, it does. Like, it feels bad when you've got to have that conversation of, oh, you're just ripping us off. This is like $20 cheaper on Amazon. It's like, I know. I wish I could buy it on Amazon and then sell it to you. Fun times.
They've been doing that for years, though. Like, even like GW models, like Chris, I know you've been, I don't know, Sheriff, I know you've been doing it. I don't know if Chris Allen, a ton of your gaming history, but it used to be a lot cheaper to buy Games Workshop models on eBay in open boxes than it would be to walk into the game store and buy them there by like a significant margin. That was before the Chinese were out there copying Forge World for $20 for a $400 model.
Yeah.
That was going to be my question are those legitimate? Well, I mean, a legitimate model, like a cast is a cast.
Yeah.
But,
No, there's a
like
cast
an
and then a
actual-
recast.
Yeah, well, so Games Workshop used to have rules that say that you couldn't sell boxes on eBay. You could take
Gotcha.
everything that's in the box out of the box and then sell that on eBay, but you couldn't sell a sealed box on eBay.
Gotcha.
And then the Chinese came into the market and they're like, oh, this model's $400 from Forge World. I'm going to cast it and then sell it on eBay for $25.
Yeah.
And they don't have copyright laws in China, so what do you do?
Whoa. They do. They do have copyright laws in China. They just don't care about your copyright law.
Oh, that's
There
how
it
it
is.
works.
If you try and steal something from a state-run business in China, you'll probably just get hung. I mean, don't say they don't have them, Ed. That's like racist.
I wasn't intending it by race. I was specifically stating that they ignore copyrights from other countries at will.
I'm
Just
very
keep digging that
disappointed.
hole, Chris.
So have you seen was it the talk? Oh man, this is super tangent. We're going deeper again. This is like level below. I was watching the Alex Jones and Joe Rogan
What is
interview.
Oh my god! Yes, I have.
He was talking about the Google just giving them all of the secrets to the Chinese government, because so the Chinese government are going to have like Google drones going delivering packages and like automated defense robots, and the world is ending. They're turning the frogs gay.
Turn the freaking frogs gay. One of my favorite. What he did say though, that did make a ton of sense, was that the Chinese were just going to steal it anyway.
Yeah.
So if they were going to steal it, you might as well give it to them. I don't know that I agree with that, but
Well, there you go. See, but now the copyright law is enforced, and Google profits. Hail
Exactly.
Hail to our Chinese socialist overlords.
all right, that was a huge tangent.
Look, guys, you're all in the US. China doesn't buy Canadian bonds. I'm safe.
We are the number one target for that. Yes, absolutely. All right, this is a huge tangent. I think we're going to hop off. In the main topic, of course, we're going to be talking about the Krayt Cup, and that is going to be coming up right after this. All right, we're back. And in the main topic, we're going to be shifting over to not only the Krayt Cup, but running non-FFG sponsored events. Obviously, we have a TO toward a relatively large tournament that just happened recently, and we're going to kind of cover over his trials and tribulations of running a non-FFG event. But we've also all participated in non-FFG tournament events and kind of want to cover some of those. So, Kris, Alan, I'm going to kind of turn the stage over to you and kind of discuss, if you don't already know, what is Krayt Cup? How did it start? And what was it like running an event that wasn't FFG?
So there's two stories for what the start of Krayt Cup is. The first and very serious factual one is so we started Krayt Cup a couple years after Outriders started, but Ryan Fleming took a time machine, saw Krayt Cup, saw that it was successful, took the format, ported it back into the past, and started Outriders. So I just need to get that out of the way. That's what happened.
I see.
But no.
We can kind of attest a little to what the Outrider started to. Chad, do you want to give a quick brief on what that is for those who don't know?
Basically, it originally started, it was 3 stores, Pittsburgh, Latrobe, and what was it, Morgantown, West Virginia?
Correct.
Yeah, so it was 3 of the local groups to like the kind of area.
Western PA-ish area.
In West Virginia. A lot of the guys who go to like the regionals and different store championships of each other's. Started off with a round of Epic, followed by 2 rounds of Standard. Each team got to score points. There was, you brought set lists. You got to match them up against other teams. It's kind of a bit of a strategy thing there.
Yeah, there was a ton of strategy in pairing.
Yeah, the originally took almost as long as the rounds did, which was
and originally it was designed to be. It was designed to be like a backyard brawl, like who had the best gaming group, and you couldn't really do that in a standard, Swiss round tournament because it didn't kind of work out that way. So it was one of the first opportunities to actually play as a team, and your successes and failures elevated or were detrimental to your team. You scored points and you paired against the captains would be in charge of pairing. So sometimes you get that bad pairing and then sometimes you get that good pairing. Like you try to get those easy points without knowing who the pilots were. It's a fantastic event that still goes on today. It's expanded significantly since it was the original 3 teams.
Yeah, they're actually holding it in other states now. It eventually kicked into Ohio. Because some fart knocker or whatever moved to Columbus and got a team involved out there. And
in my defense, we did win that year.
Oh wait, that was you. Oh, I wouldn't have said that about the person.
If you want to self-identify as a fart knocker, Ed, that's up to you. I respect. I mean, that's like the 65th gender. You're okay.
Yeah. I mean, I completely forgot that was you, Ed. I wouldn't have said something so severe. I mean,
John Mesmer and all the guys from Columbus, Mike Jones, Dave Carver, the whole team that we done out there. It was a fantastic event. They have the Darth Vader helmet, which they use as a Stanley Cup, and every time a team wins, a new plate goes onto it. So each winner has their names on the trophy. It's fantastic. But that's not what we were talking. That's kind of the genus for what we had done, but Krayt Cup is a little different. So we'll kind of shift it back to Kris.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, I think I finally unmuted now. Sorry about that. So, so we started Krayt Cup, myself and Ben Keller, the Krayt who's mostly hides in the shadows now. We started it during like Outrider 3 or 4. So we started from the Outrider rules, but we threw away Epic because Epic's terrible. So
Chad, you've been a fan. And now they have to do it because there are no Epic rules.
Right. Yeah, I can wash my hands of it. It's not my fault. We can't do it.
And I feel more insulted. I haven't been invited yet.
So we basically started the same place Outrider was for 3 or 4, where you have like 8 or 9 teams ish of, I want to say 4 or 5. I honestly don't remember. But it was around 40 people, and we did the same Outrider pairing style where like one team would place a list down, and then there's like a team order. So like team A puts a list down, and then team B, and then C, and then D. Like you don't pair team A and B together and they place lists against each other. It's like a big open field and everyone plays everyone. So what we found was a lot of people. So that was the first Krayt Cup, and it worked pretty well for the number of people we had, which was like high 30s, low 40s. I don't remember exactly. But it was clear because we filled out the space we had immediately, and more people wanted to come that couldn't and such, which is awesome. Like, I'm very surprised at how willing people are to just like go along with whatever silliness like as a TO you want to do. I mean, obviously nothing too insane, but like Krayt Cup was before Krayt was like an actual thing. It was maybe 2016, early 2017. I should really know that. But we didn't have a reputation or anything as people that could throw tournaments or even people that were good at X-Wing. To be fair, we still don't have that reputation, but we definitely didn't have it then. But yeah, so I mean that was the first one. And then after that we mixed things up a little bit because we want to get more people, which thankfully they showed up. So we switched to like a basically you run a standard Swiss tournament, but instead of pairing players against players, you pair teams against teams. So let's say the Pittsburgh team would play against the like North Carolina team, and their 4 players play against each other. And then, you have a final score from that, like 4-0, 3-1, 2-2. And then based on your score, you get paired against another team. Do so however many rounds of that, and then have a cut to top 4. And we've done that ever since, basically. And it's worked pretty well, like a lot better than I would have expected, honestly.
That's an interesting twist in the format. I like that.
It gets rid of some of the uncertainty and like, hey, we're going to put this list down, because I really like how Outrider does that. Like, you bring a lot of list to Outrider, because every round you can change who's playing what. Every round you can change your lists entirely. So
Well, in the rules of Outrider, if someone takes Darth Vader, nobody else can have him.
Right.
If somebody else takes a unique, you can't take those. So like, there's really some interesting lists that come out of that from that.
Right, and we started there with Krayt Cup as well, but then we have 5 factions now, and there's only 4 people on a team, so all the teams are separate. So it's kind of like, like, is it really a list building restriction to not have more than one lone wolf in your list? I mean, with Chancellor Palpatine, I guess it will be, but for a lot of these, it's not super meaningful. With the Outrider Cup, 6 players obviously makes it matter because you bring 3 factions twice, but here 4 different factions, it's kind of whatever. But yeah, like I really like the way Outrider Cup does that, because they made the lists that got brought were really interesting, especially this last time around. I mean, we actually just got the Krayt Cup 4 List Fortress mostly filled out, except for 2 teams who I'm going to shame publicly. NCC, whatever the Enterprise is, -D, and then Justice for Fell's Wrath. I hate all of you. Please put your list in List Fortress, message them to me.
Isn't it 1701?
Yeah. There's 17-D something. I don't know. Whatever the Enterprise is.
D something, yeah.
That sounds right. They're dead to me.
They're dead to me.
Yeah, everyone's dead. If you're not dead to Kris, you've not lived.
Well, they brought Star Trek into Star Wars, so yeah, I mean, I understand, but
I'm sure. Did we not? I'm sure me and Jeremy had a giant conversation about the lists and we're pretty close. Or do you want them exact?
I'd rather have nothing than something that's wrong, honestly, because people pull down List Fortress for analytics, and if it was these ships, but I don't remember the upgrades, and all the bids are wrong, and that kind of stuff matters. So it's easy to go, oh, there's no list here, we don't know. Versus it's hard, like I can't put in List Fortress. It was this ish.
So
sounds like a fault of List Fortress.
Yeah, definitely.
So
Get on it, Alex.
Oh, good.
No,
Sorry,
sorry.
Oh, I was going to say, when it comes to the list, I know Outrider started back when there were 2 factions, so it was a team of 6, and you had 3 people do Empire, 3 people do Rebels. Scum came about, and then it switched to 2 Rebels, 2 Empire, 2 Scum, and from the latest I've heard, talking to Evil Genius, my son, they are actually talking about, since now there's going to be 6 people on a team and 7 factions, that one of the people is going to have to switch for at least one game to the 7th faction in order to have all the factions represented throughout the team.
That's going to be interesting.
I really like what we were chatting about for Krayt Cup 17 or whatever it's going to be.
Krayt Cup 4-2.
Yeah, doing you have to bring 7 lists, but you have a pick and ban phase.
Yeah, there's the number of factions you have lets you do some really interesting
Yeah.
thing for teams. Because like Chad, you were saying, you know, like the Outriders mixed up the list selection. You know, we've done similar stuff. Like we blatantly definitely didn't just steal Outrider Cup and run it and make sure everyone would like it for the first one. But for the second
You
one,
got rid
you
of
know, it's
Epic, so.
yeah, well, I mean, we fixed the Epic problem. It's solved. But otherwise, you know, for Krayt Cup 2, we did so you know, teams of 4, so you bring one of each faction, and then you have like a wild card, so you bring a duplicate faction of your choice. So you know, maybe you want 2 Scum, maybe you want 2 Rebel, maybe you want 2 Empire, whatever. And for Krayt Cup 3, we just made a new format. We did objectives for that, so that was your 4th team member could play whatever faction they wanted, and they played only objectives against the other lists that were made for objectives. But for Krayt Cup 4, we were really hoping to have 7 factions and had all this really cool Clone Wars art and all these really cool Clone Wars alt arts, and then it didn't come out in time. Failed it. But yeah, I mean, like Kris was saying, for Krayt Cup, actually, I'm not even sure Krayt Cup. I mean, it's something we want to do, but Krayt Cup is, I realize it being associated with us is the like people who try too hard and care too much about like being good at a child's plastic spaceship game. Is like turbo extra hyper casual, and it's mostly just people coming out and having fun and drinking.
I can
So
do that.
yeah, right. Like that's the goal of Krayt Cup, is that, you know, everyone just hangs out and has fun. There's very little like caring about X-wing that happens. But if we want to do a try hard event, like Kris was saying, the like a pick ban phase, you bring 7 lists. The problem is you need like places to store all that. So there's like venue concerns and stuff, and then like, you know, you don't want to leave all that unattended, and then suddenly there's presumably a much smaller target audience for that, which is fine. You know, like you don't need a big turnout for a fun tournament. It's honestly kind of preferable. Krayt Cup would be a lot easier if we had 30 people.
I think if you start getting into that territory, you need to start capping it at a much lower number, and it's not the same event then.
Right. But we could just do something separate.
Yeah. I suppose I did recently we did a Battle of Alberta, where it was just Calgary against Edmonton, which isn't really a battle. It's like Calgary getting like, it's like American History X, we've just got our jaw on the curb, and Edmonton is jumping up and down on that. Like, it's not pretty, but Edmonton are good at X-Wing. Who knew? They like Kurt and try.
They're from Canada. They can't be that good.
Oh.
The Polaroos done okay, and like
Nope,
Andrew,
Canadian. PTL, nope, still Canadian.
Yeah. So that must mean that I'm the best player in Canada then. Being British, it's fine.
No, European, that's even worse.
European, like the last however many world champions. America didn't try my ass.
No, obviously all of those don't count because reasons.
But yeah, like doing.
I guess.
Go on.
Oh, I was gonna say the Sunday the Moffrins Mount.
Oh yeah.
Your mid story. Give me your story.
Yeah,
I want to hear about Canada on Canada blood.
There was only one color of blood, and it was definitely Calgary's. But we just did random pairings. You'd go up and flip a card over it, have someone's name on it. So the Calgary people would pick a card for the Edmontonians who say we're hosting the first one. And then that's who you were playing against. If you'd played that person already, pick a different card. But like there was no rankings or anything, so the only time we like fudged it was I wanted to make sure I played Paul, because I'd never played Paul LaRue, because I'm normally running the events he's attending.
Gotcha.
And we had like I think 12 people travel up. It's like a 3-hour drive, and like there was literally nothing on the line. They made some like little medals and stuff. We weren't expecting any prize support at all, but like you're getting, what was it, 163 people you said for Krayt Cup?
Oh, it was 164 on teams plus 12 alternates, so we were at 176.
Yeah, so that's people like.
That's really impressive.
What's the furthest someone travelled, Kris?
It's just Australia, naturally. Why would you not come from Australia to? So I learned recently that North Carolina has the connotation of the middle of nowhere to the rest of America, from the way Nami puts it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A pretty good draw for like non-standard X-wing. I don't think that when we get into hyperspace season properly, I don't think 12 people from Calgary are going to travel up to Edmonton to play in a hyperspace. But for something different and fun, people really buy into it, and you'll be surprised how much draw there is for that non-standard, just playing something different.
Especially the team formats, everyone, because you avoid, well, I mean, the reasons people seem to enjoy it more during the event is you lose a lot of the like salt, because like let's say you go 0-2, usually in a tournament, a lot of people will be upset at the bottom tables and like not having a good day. They don't really want to be there anymore. But if it's a team event, well, one, the Krayt Cup prizes, like you don't really get anything for doing better, but two, like you're still hanging out with your friends the whole time. So like, yeah, you're having a dumpster fire every day, but if you're at the bottom tables, that means your friends are also having dumpster fire days, so you can just make fun of them. And your opponents are doing the same thing to their opponents or their teammates. So generally, everyone just has it's harder to have a bad time when you're with your friends all day. And I mean, obviously, everyone at X-Wing events is usually super friendly anyways, so it's not hyper relevant. But like just being surrounded with people that you get along with, make you better at losing and such. So I don't know. I think it adds a lot.
So there's another one I want to mention real quick too. The campaign against cancer. That's another one that people can genuinely get behind because of the cause and what it's going for. And that one is a different style of tournament in that it happens simultaneously over dozens at this point of game stores all at the same time, all for a great cause. So I had to at least mention that one as well.
That is a good one. I've taken part in that a couple times now. The last one, they did it up in Monroeville, Mr. Nice Guys. They introduced like some bingo event that went on during it. That was kind of fun. Just a lot of prizes get donated. If you're in the event, you get a chance of winning some of those and all that. I've actually won the same prize both times I actually played, where I was the best Imperial player. Obviously, Imperials weren't that great at the time of the events.
I just want the fuzzy X-Wing dice. I want those to hang from my rearview mirror. Those things are amazing.
I did not win those, unfortunately. Yeah, I wanted those too, and but I did win a nice mat at the last one through the X-Wing bingo. Like I said, it's all for a great cause and all that. So whether you're doing good or you're not doing good, obviously I didn't really win a whole lot of games, but I still walked away with a mat and an alt art card for getting best Imperial for the day. So, I mean, it's all for a good cause, and like I said, it's lots of fun.
Yeah, and even throwing it back to when we did Nova Open, we used to run a narrative event before it became, is it US Nationals now?
Now it's a Grand Championship.
Yeah. Until you get a UK guy in to fix it for you, and you get a proper name for your events again. UK on top.
But yeah, no, even the narrative one at Nova was pretty fun. You
won Imperial High Commander or something.
Hero of the Rebellion.
A hero. Yeah.
Yeah, we played the worst player.
Yeah, I didn't find that out till years later. Thank you.
Yeah, I
played
Epic. No,
we did. We played it in person and played Epic.
Subjected yourself to Epic. It's so sad.
Well, there was no subjecting. I ran over all of his ships with my radar and had fun. I think
it was a good time.
I think I had fun.
I don't know. I remember we needed to finish at a given time so we could go and do something else, so we didn't really care.
Epic seems to work really well when no one cares.
It was the Force Awakens announcement, wasn't it? The Force Awakens core set. We needed to get finished so we could go and speak to Frank and Wade, yeah.
They gave them away, and then I ended up winning one later on for not even attending that event. They gave out some more of them, and I won one. So you should have stayed and played.
Yeah, but Wade was giving out the full art Gurries back then, too, for that event.
I got like 2 of those.
So did I, but I got them there.
I got mine at one of those events. Well, one of the ones I have is
This is the normal Lovers Tiff section of the show, Chris. You get used to it.
Yeah, well.
Anyway, so if you were a person who was interested in running a non-standard FFG event, obviously we have someone here who has been responsible for running a relatively successful one. Some of the pitfalls and challenges that you had, Kris, in developing Krayt Cup, obviously you kind of go over what you were going to play, but there's a whole bunch of other logistics behind that. Where you're going to play, where the prize support is going to come from, is there going to be prize support? Can you kind of go into how you kind of ironed all those wrinkles out?
Yeah, so that's not a short story. Let's see. So the big one, let's see, things that go. Let's start with prizes because it's the easiest. So one of the nice things about running your own event is you see how dirt cheap prizes are to make. It's like honestly so Krayt Cup is like $25 because our venue basically, like the short story is Atomic Empire. So it's $25 entry, of which I got like whatever 30% of that is for per entry for outside prizes, and then we bought the play mats and sold them, and you took all of those profits for prizes. But the TLDR was like, it was about $3,500 of outside prizes, and then a couple $1,000s of store credit as well. Like, so that was the finances of the event to run it. But obviously the first time you're running an event, you're not gonna have 160 people show up, but those numbers scale pretty well. Like, it's not much cheaper to get alt art cards made in that huge of bulk versus smaller amounts. But the main thing is actually prizes are so cheap that you should be careful that you don't overdo it. Like Krayt Cup 3, we gave out so many cards that people stopped caring because, it's maybe like 9 cents a card, 9 or 10 cents if you get them in sufficient bulk, which if you're running an event, you will. If you're getting more than 50 or whatever, they get really cheap really quickly. And the same's true for like acrylic. So CurlPod did all the acrylic for Krayt Cup 3 and 4, and they did an amazing job. But when you're ordering acrylic on the scale of, I think we had 14 sheets of full acrylic. It was like 10 or so pounds. There's serious volume discounts involved there. So we were able to get a lot of stuff, and it started turning into like, well, what if, like we want people to come to the event. What do we actually want them to remember and leave? Like, they'll probably use a target lock every game. So if they have one, that's cool. But we don't want to send everyone home with, a target lock and some focus tokens and some shield tokens and some evade tokens and blah, 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 because it stops meaning anything. And I think that's why, for instance, like the FFG prize kits, the new ones are much better, but the old ones seem stingy. And stingy is not even the right word, but they were very, like, you weren't going to get official acrylic templates for an FFG event unless you like top 4 to regional or whatever, which seemed ridiculous to new player Kris.
Yeah, it definitely, the FFG kits, the old ones, definitely created the aftermarket problem themselves, right, because it makes them more scarce than they needed to be.
Yeah, and basically all I'm going with here is like prizes are pretty cheap, so don't go too overboard. Like, you don't put yourself in too much, financial risk. It's hard to go in too much into the negatives for an X-Wing event, but there's no reason to overdo it. People are going to remember the event if they get to hang out with their friends and have fun is the secret. Like, your job is to have an event format that facilitates that, and then also make sure that, nothing terrible happens. Like, people have access to food and bathrooms and such. Like, the nice thing is everyone came to do something that they know they enjoy. So the default state is everyone has a good time as long as you don't screw anything up.
Now, did you ever consider reaching out to like FFG for support for your event? I know they used to do that. I don't know what their stance is on that now.
Their stance is pretty inconsistent, which is not too surprising for supporting unofficial events. So, like, the short answer is yes, I reached out. The answer I got, I reached out to FFG on a couple things because, they have a whole like partnership program and everything now. So the short answer I got on that was not something we should do, because then if we ever want to throw events, that it would have to be under the FFG banner. They'd have to approve literally everything, and we'd never be able to do that because we're the Krayts, and they would never approve anything we ever did for obvious reasons. I think FFG keeps a wider berth on the stuff we do because they don't really want to be associated with like this shitty MS Paint alt arts and like the sinker fells and shit, right? Like all of that. Like, they know it's in good fun. It's not like they dislike us, but yeah, there you go. Like, they're like, okay, so here's a good example. So one of our favorite ship posters in the Krayt group is Andrew Twa. So he was going to give out, I don't know how well you can see these, but he has these cards that say California Krayts on the back, and it was supposed to be Minister Twa because his last name's Twa, T-W-A. And it's just a picture of his face, but he misprinted it, so it's just his like mutton chop.
Lovely.
So, if you want any of those, I have a couple hundred.
Nice.
But like a lot, like we gave out some nice cards. Like there was the plastic, again, sink or fell. Like it's not serious. No one would ever think it's FFG official, but they don't really want to associate with that. But I do know that, like, at least in the past, FFG's helped out with like the campaign against cancer stuff, because while there's still some copyright / IP problems there, it's really hard for them to get bad publicity from like a campaign against cancer tournament, right? Like it's just everyone wins. But so let's say, but for Krayt Cup, someone comes to the tournament, they see official FFG prize support. Oh, cool! Look at these nice official alt arts, and then they go to make the cut, and they don't make the cut because the tiebreaker is Super Smash Brothers, and then they get mad, right? As one would, because that's absurd. And they go to FFG and say, hey, like, I was at a tournament with your prizes, and like, what the hell is this? At which point, it's the OP guy's problem. So
at least you didn't play Loop and Chewy.
We can't use Loop and Chewy now because people have practiced it.
Yeah.
It's not fair.
Oh, dear.
You guys have had some interesting items that you've come up with over the years. I remember the Inquisitor range rulers.
I did get you one of those, right?
No.
What? I was gonna say before you got here, I was like, I haven't seen Chad in so long. The last time I saw you was when we played at that random like West Virginia regional, I think.
I think it was, yeah.
I could have sworn I got you one. And I failed.
I do not have one of those.
Oh no. All right.
He's gonna get more printers just for you.
I think you gave me some alt art cards, but that was
like the sad thing is, like, one, the Grand Inquisitor is just trash, so no one cares anymore. But we really need a range 1/1 that says 2 to 3 on it as well.
Ed, did you ever see those range rulers?
I did. I have seen them, not in person, but I saw them online.
I've seen them in person. I remember seeing them. I think it was at Worlds one time I saw those. And
yeah, but like that kind of prize, or like the USA blue lock with the red Canada side, right?
Oh, yeah.
All this stuff is in great fun. There it is. Like all this stuff's in great fun, and everybody knows it's in fun, but it's not stuff that FFG wants to put their name on. But like I know a lot of other tournaments, like FFG happily gave stuff to Crossroads. They got stuff for all the campaign against cancer stuff. I don't know about Steel. You'd have to ask Aaron. I know, his event was basically run so well that it started making him and FFG nervous that people would mistake it for an official event.
I don't recall official FFG stuff, other than stuff they donated themselves.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's something you have to ask. But yeah, the short story is basically they're more than happy to hook people up most of the time with cool stuff. It's just an extenuating circumstance. It's usually self-inflicted ones that doesn't happen. Yeah, I hope that was a good answer to that question, because I don't even know where to start. But like that was the majority of things that went wrong. Is prize support's honestly the hardest thing once you have a venue and stuff.
Well, and I think in Outrider Cup 1 and 2 they had official FFG support, and then FFG pulled.
Yeah, exactly. And the same story was first. I know at least early on, like the second. I guess it was the second Steel Open was the first one I went to, and like he had a bunch of Gurries and everything to give out, but he gave out a bunch of Gurries next to like the Rebel Captives with Slave Leia and stuff on them. They're all fan made. I think that's the kind of thing that makes
I've got one of those in that case right there.
Cool. Yeah. So the other thing was, are we good? Am I ruining everything?
It's all rolling. Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
More anything for Kris. It's fine.
Oh, you're actually gonna edit it?
Oh, it's fun.
I think you should leave this like broken string of words together so people just think I'm a moron. Style points for that.
I'm gonna edit you to sound more like a moron because I have that power.
That's fair. But yeah, so we also did I guess on the subject of people willing to just kind of roll with your unofficial event stuff. We also did a frankly weird format for Sunday, which was. So usually Sunday is the cut for events, but everyone else just kind of sits around and watches until they happen to have to leave and take their flight, which is fun, but it's not the most fun. So we took some video game style matchmaking for tournaments, and basically ran a separate entire side event. So like, let's say you go to a hyperspace qualifier, the ones where you have to go undefeated right now. So you start out with everyone else, and it's just Swiss until there's 6 rounds, and then the undefeated people qualify for Worlds. So that's all well and good, except that means when you lose a game, your day's over. And there's a lot of uncertainty as to when you can leave. So like, let's say your flight's at 6 that Sunday night, and you're undefeated at 4-0 and it's 3 o'clock. Like, do you stay and risk missing your flight, or do you keep playing, or did you sign up for this event at all because you have to leave at 4-ish, which kind of sucks for everybody. So we took some like I was saying, video game style matchmaking for tournaments and tried to run it at a physical event, and it worked for the most part. The short story is basically, instead of running one big tournament with one big Swiss entry like in a Cryodex book program, we basically had everyone run their own tournament. So we started everyone off at the start of the day. You didn't have to show up at the start of the tournament either, and it'll make sense in a second why. So basically, we gave everyone that showed up at the start time like a printed card with a 0 on it, as in you have 0 wins. And they played against somebody else that had a 0 card, because everyone had a 0 card because they had 0 wins. And as they wrap those games up, the winner would bring both 0 cards in and get a 1 card, and the loser would get a 0 card back. So then the people with 1 win would just find tables and play each other and keep their own time. And then, the winner of that game would get a 2 card. They'd bring in the 2-1 cards, get a 2 card, and the loser would get a 0 and start back over. So basically, we just kept doing that. So the goal was to go 4-0 and get the MOF card, which is entirely meaningless and does nothing. It's just a bit of fun. But that meant that basically, so let's say you finish your second game, but you're really hungry and you want to do lunch, you have to go to the bathroom. You can just leave and come back and get paired against somebody else with 2 wins whenever you happen to get back and want to play more. So you can do that. So you could grind out, like we had people going for, like 4 MOF cards, which would be absurd. Well, like 10-0, right, in 7 hours, which nobody actually did. They got close, but nobody actually did it. But the nice thing is basically that, you can run your tournament asynchronously, which means people can come in and out on their own schedule. They can play as many games as they want or as few games as they want. Like, so we had some dads with kids, so the kids just grinded out game after game after game after game, and the dads just kind of hung out, watched some games, played a couple, or like, oh, I'm going to take a break, and would watch for 30 minutes, and then hop into a game when they were ready.
My favorite part, Kris, was sitting on a judge's table for you. Like, people come, there being one person there with a 3 card just waiting, and someone would come up and hand in the 2 2s, and it's like, oh, do you want to play? It's like, no, we're going for lunch now.
Yep.
And then someone else would come, and just like one guy getting like, oh no, what? Dude, just go for lunch with them, and then when you come back,
they can't escape.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's like, because we had Andrew Cox and Sarah Tessum and Mike, I think it was Mike Jim, all dodging each other. It was great. Because, ideally you'd have like a pairing system, but we didn't have enough people to, do anything other than basically a test run. Like, you could expand the format out and do it properly where, somebody gets paired and then they're stuck there until they get an opponent or they start over. But like, frankly, it's Krayt Cup, and if people are trying to cheat, like, that's more or less in the spirit of the rules. So whatever.
How long did it take time-wise for someone to go 4-0?
Oh, like 30 minutes. Like, 12 people all collude together to make someone a MOF. It was like, all right, fine. You guys got the 1. You did it. Now go actually play some X-Wing. And they still didn't, but they pretended to, so good enough.
Yeah. Like, you line up, deploy your ship. Oh, I concede.
Yeah. They got that far where they would set ships up and then sit there for 20 minutes and then come and tell me somebody won or lost. I was like, all right, whatever. I'm not going to run out of MOF cards if you do this at this speed, so we're good. But yeah, like, the nice thing about running your own tournament is you can experiment with some side stuff like that, and obviously that means that you can do things that go super wrong. Like, there could have been some terrible flaw in this tournament format that we didn't know about, and we wouldn't have found out. I mean, obviously, other than testing it, which we did, but anytime you're running, like, FFG gives tournament guidelines and everything for a reason, which is, this works, we know this works, if you do it this way, everything will be fine. The second you stray from that, you have to make sure your bases are covered. But if you make sure your bases are covered, you can do some fun stuff. So, I don't know. I like the freedom of basically just do whatever you want, and then people are like surprisingly willing to just go, yeah, we'll give it a shot. That sounds fun.
I was really surprised that people were like legitimately playing games.
Yeah.
All the way through until you told them they had to stop. And these are people who have no chance to actually go 4-0 anymore.
They just want to play X-Wing.
Yeah. It was really good, really wholesome.
And that's the secret for 90% of the people who show up to tournaments. They don't care. I mean, they care a little bit about the prizes, but they just want to get like 8 or 9 games in of X-Wing, and they want to get away from their responsibilities for a bit and have a good time.
Yeah, playing people they don't get to normally play.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, as funny as it was watching how long it took for Paul to get all his pairings every round. Like, sometimes somebody, it's Paul's waiting for a game. I'm in, let's do it. And then Paul would crush them because he's Paul. And then, but it's cool for somebody who doesn't get to, travel up to Northern Virginia much for tournaments. So yeah, sorry, I don't mean to talk your ear off on that one, but I was happy that
No, that was really cool, and it sounds like a really cool format to try out, as just like you said, just a side event for folks who, okay, you've not made the cut, but here's something else you can do to fill some of your time. I think that's really cool.
The only problem I genuinely foresee if people want to steal that format is there is a definite fall off of numbers of when that does not work.
Yes, you have to have critical mass for people because, like, let's say you have 12 people, that 3-0 game might have a 40-minute wait. Whereas if you have 100 people, it's 2 or 3 minutes. Which really just means you would need to run a lower number of total wins. But then if you have 12 people, why would you not just run the Swiss event, right?
Yeah.
Like, whatever. Because you're going to have huge wait times anyways. So, yeah.
All right, Kris, so there is one more that you did want to cover over. And I've been informed that we have been... Yeah, no, never mind. There's one other event that you want to go over and cover. By all means, feel free to go so.
Okay, so whilst I was at Krayt Cup, someone randomly handed me some Gold Squadron templates. I was like, oh, cool, I've got some Gold Squadron templates. And they're like, these are for James. And I was like, yeah, okay. I'm not James, but whatever. And eventually...
Thanks for the templates.
I got back home, and then a guy called James messaged me. And was like, thanks for bringing those templates back. I was like, oh, okay, cool. I'm starting to see a pattern here. So, because shipping from the US to Canada is relatively more expensive than shipping it internally in Canada, I got given some templates for the Tiger Lock Hunger event, which James, I'm going to have to edit myself, butchering his name again. I keep doing this.
Oh, that would have made so much more sense. I don't have to pay for shipping to send him stuff. I should have just sent it with you. Nailed it.
Then I have to pay for shipping.
He's a template mule.
Yeah, no, it was James Clark. I don't have to edit. I just, I get to show everyone me doting myself. Yeah, James Clark. I was right the first time. Message me. He runs the Tiger Lock Hunger event in Delta, BC, which is to raise money and food supplies for the Surrey Food Bank. And I sent him stuff. We were chatting back and forth, and I said, well, we've sent him some extra lack of focus pricing as well. And I think near enough I don't want to say all of the podcast, because there'll be one who now feels bad, but you should. Everyone sent him extra pricing and stuff. And looks like it's going to be a really fun event. It's on May the 11th. But basically, we recorded an interview, which we'll play now. And then we'll pick back up, because there's a couple of extra things to add in post-interviewness.
And James is alarmingly on the ball. Like, he started messaging people for prizes and everything, like, in the middle of last year.
Yes. I do have a previous conversation chain with him that I just, like, blanked out of my mind. But yeah, really, really good organizational skills, and it's the 3rd year they've been doing it. But interview plays now. Hi, James. How you doing?
Oh, I'm having a great day. Thanks. Yourself?
Good, good. So you are in charge and heading up the Target Lock Hunger event. Do you want to go into a little bit on what it is, how long you've been running, and give for people some background on it?
Well, for sure. This will be our 3rd year for the tournament, and it came about because I used to volunteer for the Surrey Food Bank back in 2015. In late 2016, I ended up losing my position at work, quite surprisingly. and was off work for about 8 months. So that volunteering for the food bank transitioned into having to go to the food bank because unemployment with all the kiddos that I had at home didn't quite cover what we needed it to. And it was through those relationships that I built while volunteering and while attending the food bank that transitioned into a job for the food bank. After that 8 months of layoff, I was able to come aboard at the Surrey Food Bank as the manager of volunteer resources. So it was my role to bring in volunteers to help out on a daily basis. And that's since passed. I worked there for 2 years and have gone back to school. But the best way that I could figure out to give back, to say thank you to them, was in raising cash donations. Cash gives them a lot of flexibility for purchasing food items that they need. And the most fun I could have in doing that was tying that into X-Wing, my favorite tabletop game. So Target Lock Hunger was born, 3 years ago now. And the first year we were able to raise just under $1,600, and last year it was just over $4,000. And I'm hoping this year we'll top the 10,000 altogether mark, which would be pretty amazing for a bunch of guys coming together to push plastic ships around the table. And no, it's been an amazing experience for me to see the generosity of the community, and just a real joy to be able to give something back to the food bank as well.
Yeah, I know that it's one of the big selling points for me and why I've stayed in the X-Wing community for so long is because of people like you doing this kind of event and how well supported they always are, and that if the X-Wing community as a whole and like tabletop gamers, miniatures gamers in general, good people and support these kind of things. So yeah.
Well, and when I think about Canada as a whole, and the West Coast in particular, the biggest thing that we have going on is regionals. Otherwise, we're dropping down into Seattle to do system opens or going out to Toronto for bigger events. So it's also, I don't know, I hope it's a bright point to the community to have another large event to kind of rally around in the off season, I guess, in between things.
Yeah. So given the numbers you spoke about, how much you raised, what was your attendance levels, and how's the actual event grown over the years?
Well, it started, the first year was 30, I'm going to say 30 players that came out to play. And we have, I mean, there's obviously a dollar amount to enter in, and all of that money goes to the food bank, but then we do a raffle table as well from items that are donated to be raffled off, and that's where most of the money comes from in the way of ticket sales. Last year we were up to 40 pilots and another 8 guys who couldn't come and play because they were working, but they all dropped in on their lunch breaks to buy raffle tickets to support the cause anyway, which is really awesome for them to take some time out of their day to even come by to do that. So it's a full day affair. We haven't made it into a 2-day thing yet. There's always a casual theme around it. We do enough competitive stuff that's nice just to let down and play with some ships you haven't played with before, or themes you haven't messed with before.
Yeah. So are you planning any additional rules with format for this year? Is it going to be a hyperspace extended?
I think with the options that are available on the app to set something up, that's really kind of cool now that most of the bugs seem to got that. But I think it won't be. I think it'll be more extended, but with some rules involved. There's a lot of ships out there, and it's even better though. We talk about the generosity of the community. Even amongst the players themselves, if somebody has something that they can apply that they don't have the pieces to, it is not hard in this community to be able to have the ships loaned out to be able to do something crazy.
Yeah. sometimes against a better judgment. Oh, can I borrow like 3 more phantoms? No, you can't.
That's right. Yeah, who would fly 4 phantoms? What's up with that?
Yeah, sad times. Oh dear. But yeah, so the event itself is May the 11th of this year, obviously, and you can sign up at jamesrichardclark.wixsite.com/targetlockhunger. I'll obviously
That's
have that
right.
link posted in the show notes, and I'll make sure it's all over our Facebook page for you.
Oh yeah, fantastic. And they can find us on Facebook as well.
Yeah.
That's the joy of giving all the money to the food bank. You don't actually pay for a
Web
shortened
hosting.
website. Yeah, you know, what can you do?
Yeah. We'll work on that. We'll see if I can hook you up with some hosting as well.
Wow,
I
fantastic.
beg, borrow, and steal as much patronage as I can, and it barely covers my hosting. But we'll see what we can do. But yeah,
You know, that's a wonderful point to lead into begging and borrowing. I think the biggest message that I would like to send out is that we all have an opportunity to do something to help somebody else. And a lot of people do, right? They volunteer through their church or through organizations or whatever that may be. But when you can turn something that you really enjoy into an opportunity to be able to help somebody out, that's really awesome. And the question I probably get most about the tournament is, where do you get all the cool stuff that you're able to raffle off? And hopefully we put the names of the people out there enough for people to actually know where it comes from, because that's really important to me. But it's really about that having no shame to ask and never expecting anyone to say yes. And then you get to be really surprised by all of the really generous people in our greater community that does say yes and sends out really awesome stuff.
Yeah. Oh, I know I picked up some Gold Squadron Classic maneuver templates while I was away for you to try and save people shipping from the US. I've got a couple of extra goodies that I picked up from Krayt Cup that I'll throw along, and then we'll send you out some of the new lack of target lock tokens that we made. So hopefully you'll have some extra swag. So outside of Target Lock Hunger and that excellent cause, is there any other X-Wing stuff you wanted to chat about?
You know, it's I used to be, I don't know. I mean, not even all that. I'm so mid-table and very happy to be there. It's the joy of getting out and playing games with folks. That's the real draw for me.
I know one of
but it's
one of our main focuses
when
we changed from doing that Nova Squadron Radio into my Slack of Focus podcast was that we wanted to stop pretending to be trying to cater to people who wanted to win worlds. It's just about people pushing ships around the table, having fun, and a lot more laid back and casual approach. I think high quality, high level X-Wing is an amazing thing. But the vast majority of X-Wing is definitely people pushing stuff around the kitchen table that they enjoy to fly. So.
And just the I don't know, all the different folks that I've gotten to meet and know over the years has I mean, not to sound too cheesy about anything, but it's really enriched my life. There've been some really good friendships that have come out of that. And I don't have delusions. I don't have delusions of living up to my pal Kalen Wong's abilities. But I've beat him once. That's all that matters. I've beat him once.
That's it. Only as good as your last game. It's fine. Just never play him again and you'll be okay.
That's right. Yeah. Then I keep the record. It's totally fine. But yeah, you know, in since version 2 releasing, sadly and embarrassingly, perhaps a little, because I'm back in school full time, I've actually only played in 3 local tournaments. So I'm missing it a little, but Target Lock Hunger is an excuse to make sure that I can really focus in on it for a day anyway.
Yeah. Well, that should be a good event. It sounds like it'll it'll go down well. Hopefully, you do hit that target for the donations and the amount of money you're trying to raise. Is there
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
other than people sending you swag to give out and attending the event, is there any way they can donate directly to the food banks that you want to talk about?
Yeah, if they'd like, they could. Surrey Food Bank is www.surreyfoodbank.org. If you care to donate to them at all, and in the comments you could just put in Target Lock Hunger, and they'll know it came from us, or in our raising awareness anyway. But beyond that, and more importantly, I would suggest find out who your local food bank is, and go donate to them. Focus on trying to take care of the people in your community first is really what I would push.
Yeah. I did want to just touch on, I know that lots of people do the tin goods to food banks and stuff like that, and obviously money is the best way to support them. They do appreciate any donations, but tins are heavy, and it costs money moving them around. So
well, there's definitely that. There's the sorting that's involved on in the warehouse side of the food bank. There's expiration dates. People don't necessarily think of expiration dates. They think, I have extra food, I'll go take this to the food bank, and it turns out it's been extra food that's been sitting in the cupboard for 10 years. My high point while working at the food bank one Christmas was getting a box of Dream Whip, which is that non-dairy whip topping, from like 1969, and it was beautiful. The box was perfect. Unimaginable. Like somebody was obviously cleaning out great grandma's cupboard or something, but totally, it's up on a shelf in the offices up there. But yeah, I mean, money specifically helps with keeping gas, keeping gas in the trucks that go to the farms to pick up fresh produce, and to the refrigerated warehouses where we get all of our dairy from grocery stores. And it allows us to buy specific commodities if we're running low in those commodities. Like there'll always be tinned meat of some kind, like tuna or salmon or something like that. So they'll buy that specifically if they're running low, to make sure that there's always protein on the food line. So money, and also because of the relationships that they have with distributors, money, they can buy more for $1 than you can buy for $1.
Yes.
But there is also that joy, particularly if you're doing it with children, to go to the grocery store and buy physical things to donate, because that's more impactful to some people, and that's absolutely fine.
Okay, well, thanks a lot, James. Unless you've got any closing thoughts, I think we can wrap it up there.
No, that's really awesome, Kris. Thank you very much. And if anyone's interested in learning anything more about it, or sending off some squadron swag or whatever, just hit up the website. It'll message me directly.
Okay, and that was Target Lock Hunger, and if you throw it into Facebook, you'll find it there. I'll have all of the links in the show notes. As I say, I'll put it around our Facebook page again.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Kris.
No worries, man. Have a good day.
You too, man.
And then back from interview. Okay. So, you might have seen in that interview, the web address was James Clark something or other / 15 different characters at wix.thingy. So we decided
a little
that,
squiggly line and a fish, and it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, we decided that
almost summoned a demon.
Yeah, that wasn't acceptable. So thanks to our awesome Patreons, we are paying for them to have targetlockhunger.org as their web address for his tournament from now on. So
that's a little easy to remember.
Yeah, if you want to know about Target Lock Hunger, just type in targetlockhunger.org and you're there. It'll be good. It will work. I had a moment of I thought I'd ruined it for him and forced him to have to upgrade his Wix account to a premium one, but we made it work. It's all the web masking set up now. And I told him that I will keep paying for that as long as they keep running it. So thanks to everyone supporting that good cause. It comes out of your Patreon money. So thank you. And,
thanks, guys.
Yeah.
And thank you, Kris.
Oh, it's okay.
That was a big heart.
Wholesome.
Look at that. Yeah.
See the things you get to do when you leave your house?
Yeah.
He tries to come off like a jerk, but he's really a big teddy bear. Listen to him.
I've got like lots of stuff. we did send him a lot of stuff. I hope he enjoys the envelope when it arrives. But yeah, I think I found one of the remember the velvet X-wing bags from like
I still have
the very
mine.
first
Oh
wave.
God, with the terrible
I
stuff
sent
that
him.
comes off.
I sent him
Yeah.
a brand new immaculate one of those because I just have. I've got a drawer of random old prizing to give out, so
I've got a whole bunch
properly
of them
random
over
stuff.
here.
Yeah.
Do you remember the cardboard boxes too?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I got those.
Never
Yeah.
had a purpose that I was aware of.
They're really
They were-
convenient now because they fit roughly like one faction's worth of cards.
Yeah, they were card boxes, and you could put your templates in there and all kinds of stuff. They were useful, dude.
I
I
use
never
them,
used them.
But you didn't go
for-
to tournaments, so you wouldn't know.
I've got a whole bunch of them right there.
Yeah,
I've seen
and
Really?
you never
Five of them,
used them
right
because
there.
you didn't go anywhere.
The premium currency now is the oversized Han Solo Boba Fett cards. 'Cause
You joking me?
I have 4 of them, and I need a 5th one for my Han Solo shield. So you take damage, you flip them over to Boba Fett.
I thought that the premium shield tokens were the FFG demo tables.
That I guess that
Oh.
story is worth telling because that was a thing that happened. Like a year ago, I get a message and it was like, "Hey, our FFG demo tables official FFG products?" And, you know, I'm not an idiot all the time. I know where this is going, so I said, "You know what? Sure, whatever." And then a year later, they actually showed up to Krayt Cup with 2 demo tables for their shields per ship, like folded
Oh
up,
my
hanging
god.
off the side of the table. It was the most amazing thing I'd ever seen.
Oh my god, that's hysterical.
Yeah.
I think I have one of those somewhere.
And they were having everybody sign their shield token. It was great.
I always thought it was funny that they're not 3x3. Like they're not perfect. I mean, they're meant to be demo tables, but still.
Because they're pretty small, right? They're 2x2 when you set them up or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
2.5 at most. Yeah.
You basically get shots after moving because it's a demo.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I want to talk about turn 0 setup in the rule of 11 every time I demo. Make sure they watch their eyes glaze over.
So anyone who ever runs a demo, the game A Song of Ice and Fire podcast, the guy who does that does a really good "this is how you demo things." He specifically says like, no one cares about the rules, they're there for the experience, just stop it. And I'm so on board. I used to do mystery shopping for Games Workshop, so you go in and have to like pretend you don't know anything about Warhammer, and you have to say yes to any question they ask. So like, would you like a demo? Yes. Would you like to learn to paint a model? Yes. So you've got to like badly paint a Space Marine when he's telling you how to do it, and like go through everything, and you'd score him, and it's like, yeah, I was doing the demo, and it was going into a rules of like how these Space Marines work. It's like, dude, just tell me to roll a dice. I don't care. I know these rules better than you do. Just tell me to roll a dice, please.
What you should have done is been like, I've never painted a model before in my life and do like a golden demon level style paint. Like I've never done this before. It's amazing.
You're such a good teacher.
That would
See,
have been
Ed could have done that stuff. Walks in, pretends he doesn't know anything about it. Not much for pretending, but you know.
exactly.
But yeah, so Talk About Hunger links will be in the show notes and descriptions and all of that good stuff. You can donate directly to your local food bank. You don't have to support the City food bank. It's much better to put it into your local community. And if you can, cash is always better than out-of-date tins. But there you go. And I think that's all I have.
Excellent. We're gonna make this on time. How do you like that?
Oh,
All
I'll
right.
fix that.
Oh, of course you will. All right, so that's going to do it for the main topic tonight. We are going to roll on to close out the show right after this. All right, so that is going to do it for episode 20 of Lack of Focus, Kraytvasion. I do, of course, want to thank our special guest, Mr. Chris Allen. Thank you so much for joining the show, my friend.
No, thanks for having me.
Chad, my partner in crime and gaming, you have some things to do at the end that you're going to carry me since my voice is dying on me.
Yes, it is. That sounds really horrible, man. So kind of a bit disappointed for this episode when it came to the listener questions. There was only one question asked, but as Chris Sheriff pointed out, that may have been me who asked that question. So We'll
All right,
probably
so-
skip over that one.
Oh, are you
What's
sure?
the question though? This seems important.
Chris, they asked, should I say
I did
it?
ask.
So, is it true that Ed blows goats?
Jesus.
Someday, my kids are going to go back and listen to these and go, huh,
The people
No.
need to know, Ed.
Oh,
it is
Ed,
not
just
true.
Blow,
Chad wishes it were.
blow into a mic for the listeners, and we'll see if a goat comes out. That's the only way to test it.
But
Why
I've got a
would I wish that
windscreen.
you
I'd have
blowing
to
ghosts
remove
be
the
true?
windscreen.
Well, it's a goat blocker screen now.
It's
Yeah.
a goat blocker screen.
But
I'm going to put that right here.
we did have one other person comment on here. It's not a question, though. So normally we get like 3 or 4 people asking questions. Didn't get that this episode, but we did get Chris Brown from Cryodex. Goes, ooh, I'm excited to hear this episode.
It's because of the
Not a question.
the 2 best Chris's are on this episode.
Ooh.
Oh.
You have to be in the top 2 percentile
All right,
of
hang on a
Chris's to
second.
make this episode.
Well, as far as the questions are concerned, that is obviously my fault. We were supposed to record this on our normal day of Thursday. My daughter had something going on at school. You worked on Friday, Chris. I was away for the weekend, so we tried to squeeze this in on St. Patrick's Day of all days, which is why Chris has been drinking the whole time through the show.
It's not, trust me. I didn't even know. In fact, no,
He
I
does
was
it all the time.
I was watching the League of Legends stream earlier, and they were all like wearing green hats. I was like, oh, it must be St. Patrick's Day. So, being that I'm not Irish, I don't care. Apparently, I've just alienate half of our listener base now. You Americans aren't Irish either. Just stop. It's okay. You know,
So, question for you. And
it's
I
not a
haven't-
real
I-
not a real holiday.
I have yet to get confirmation of this. If you kiss the Blarney Stone, does that or does that not make you Irish?
I don't know. Not Irish. Don't care.
Okay, I was just curious. Well, it's the UK. It's the same thing, right?
Correct response.
I mean,
All,
I can
all
tell
you-
you. I can tell you about Soldier F, and we can get really political about people like shooting IRA terrorists and now going to jail
Chris,
after they bloody St. David.
Chris.
But you know,
Chris, all you slaves to the queen look the same.
whoa. It's, I actually pledged allegiance in front of God. I didn't have to. I had the option, but I chose that one for irony.
For irony, if nothing else.
I don't know if that makes it a non-legally binding document if you don't believe in God for allegiance in front of God. I don't know.
It just
fine.
makes it funny. And we can hit
but yeah.
Brexit one more time because you guys still have no option on what's going to happen on Brexit.
Yeah. Good.
Theresa May's second
Oh, no, wait,
referendum.
he already Brexited.
Oh,
Yeah.
he did. Yes,
Yeah, he did
personally.
himself.
I pulled that yellow and black handle real early. I mean, now I didn't vote in Brexit. I think I said this already on the cast, but I didn't vote in Brexit because I would have voted for Brexit to try to tank the pound so that I could pay my mortgage in the UK easier.
Oh my god.
But like, that feels like the wrong reason to vote for something. But you know,
Collapse an entire country's economy so I can get my mortgage paid off.
Yeah,
Great
like-
idea.
the dream is that Brexit happens, the pound goes to like negative 15 million Canadian dollars. I can send them like a loony. That covers my mortgage. And then in 10 years' time, the sterling recovers and I have a house that's worth money. Seems easy. Why try
Seems
harder?
easy.
Yeah.
The geopolitical mess that it makes has nothing to do with it.
He doesn't
Your
live there. Why
fault.
does he care?
It's fine. Like, there's not a chance that like the other countries that are just. I've already had this discussion with Travis in the Krayt Discord chat thing, the train wreck that I'm in. But if the EU make it easy for Great Britain to leave the Eurozone, then other people might want to leave. So can't make it easy. But
Oh, I don't blame
know.
them in any way, shape, or form in this
I
one.
don't either. Like the EU aren't negotiating in good faith because why would they? That would be crazy.
And you still have that whole Northern Ireland thing. Like, what happens when that goes off, and you can't have free transit anymore through the, like, it's just
I
a
mean,
complete mess.
Let's put it in terms listeners to understand, right? If you dial in a 2 left hard, Why would you let him change it, man?
That goes off the board and completely ruins your entire
It's
event.
not a bad analogy.
Yeah,
If you're playing geopolitics and your opponent concedes, take it.
yeah, there you go. Why would you? Take the free win. It's okay. As soon as you say, okay, we want to negotiate with you, but a no-deal Brexit is off the table. Okay, I promise we'll negotiate. I promise. I would never lie.
Ever.
Oh, is it
All
too?
right, so that's politics on lack of focus.
Okay. I love everybody. Please don't leave us.
Oh wait, I got your transition from politics. Speaking of politics, should we talk about concessions and worlds invites passing? And rules.
That's a great transition.
Nailed it.
Okay, I'll let you lead off.
Oh, I was gonna say we could hit rules and then hit.
Okay.
Hit collusion rules. You're the responsible adult. You start.
Okay, so you may or may not be aware of an endeavor by some of the X-Wing community at large to put together the X-Wing Community Rules Document. It is completely unofficial, but it is a group of people who've TO'd events who come together in a not super secret official capacity. They're not the Judge Illuminati, honest. But you know what makes this even harder to sell in this way? Is that Chico's gone and changed the picture of the unofficial Facebook page to be Judge Dredd. So it's like, I'm trying to be all like touchy-feely, you know, we're not trying to take over FFG and like tell you how to play the game. I am a law. Okay. Good.
I feel like the people that understand irony and people that care about rules too much is not a very large group.
Yeah, the Venn diagram of these the target audience for that picture is exceedingly small. But anyway,
all right, some details.
So basically, there is between 10 and 20 judges and TOs in a group who discuss the rules questions that come up and try to give some form of document that you can use if you TO your own events. Kris asked me if I would be on it. Someone asked Kris, who wasn't the Kris, who asked me if he'd be on it, because there's lots of Krises. Why not? So we're both TOs in this group. Yeah. What do you think, Kris? Is it awesome? Isn't it wholesome and fun?
It's surprisingly wholesome, honestly. Like, I was unprepared to give you like an unironic answer, but yeah, like for the most part, everyone just cares about having events that are relatively consistent and like rules that mostly make sense, and are pretty willing to stick with if this rule can easily be interpreted in two ways, and one of them's a dumpster fire, do the other one, which is a good golden rule.
Yeah, people have been quoting me now. It's good
because it's a good quote.
Yeah, but there's been nowhere near the pushback I expected there to be. So I was quite happy to help out. I'll try to be a voice of reason and make stuff work, but ultimately I'll just use whatever is the voted on answer. But you don't have to if you want to steal some of it. Steal some of it.
Even better, how's this? I don't plan on only using the voted on answers, but it's a good starting point for because really the target audience for this is not somebody who knows all the rules and is mad they weren't invited to the Judge Cool Kids Club, right? Like, if you got it, you got it. You're good, right?
Yeah.
The goal is, hey, our store is running a regional or whatever the hell they're called for the first time. And we don't really have like a big community yet, so we're just trying to figure out and run this. So we have a store employee running as our marshal because that's who we trust.
Yeah.
You can hand this off to that guy and say, here's something reasonable to do for a bunch of weird things that can come up.
That's one of the things. One of the arguments. Sorry, Ed. One of the things I've been saying is that if you know enough to question the ruling that's put there, you don't need the ruling.
Yep. The caveat: you might think you know enough to question that ruling and are wrong.
Oh, you are generally wrong.
But for the most part, like, I mean, so there's some things that I'm gonna be honest, I'm bad at remembering what things have been pushed out, but like all the Han stuff is out there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so like Han Solo does not work under the rules. Like it's not a modification. It's not a modification. It's deep into undefined territory where like nobody knows what the hell to do, right? Because it's there. Like there's different factions of judges, which I feel even ridiculous for saying, but like rules is written. Here's what did they mean? Blah blah blah. It's like, look, nobody knows. This is reasonable. This doesn't break everything terribly, so we're gonna do this unless something else comes up. Like if FFG comes out and says it works like X, obviously it works like X. But until then, here's something that you can do. You can follow it. Hopefully, we can be relatively consistent on this. Nobody's gonna hate you if you don't think it works like this and rule it otherwise. Like for instance, we did Krayt Cup before the rules document thing were finalized, and I mostly said Han and C-3PO work together to see if it would break everything terribly. And it was pretty good, but didn't seem to. But it turns out it's easier in the rules. And by easier, I mean less things break terribly if Han Solo's not a dice modification. So let's just do that. Sounds good. And I mean, that's a really like lazy hand wavy way of answering how we got to that, but it's not like a non-zero part of it.
Yeah. There's lots of things in there that isn't a right answer. So if you disagree, it doesn't matter. Lose nothing, you gain nothing. Do what you want. But if you can follow through the logic of something, just pick one. Literally communicate to your players, and
yep. Nobody can be mad at your event.
Yeah.
If you say 2 weeks beforehand, hey, here's the rules we're using. If you have any questions, let me know. And then a week later, you say, hey, there were some clarifications. Here's the new set.
Yep.
This is final. You'll be fine.
I think the big thing that has been brought up, which is genuine concern, because I've been trying to get the opinions. I've been actively seeking the opinions of people who don't like the idea of it, because I hate myself, apparently. Tell me why you don't like me and my work, please. Yeah.
In exquisite detail.
Yeah, there is a fear that this will give the player base ammunition, which realistically, as a player, if you're not running an event, feel free to read through the document, because it will give you an idea of stuff that isn't clear. But don't argue with your TO. Do what they say. Doesn't matter if they're right or wrong, because, spoiler, you're both right and both wrong. It's Schrodinger's ruling until FFG says so. We're just trying to make it easier.
Like, you might be correct, even if, so I mean, and the other thing is, so let's say you don't disagree with with something that was in the document, but actually the TO is incorrect in how the rules work and they rule it wrong. As it turns out, they tell you what's right or wrong.
Yeah.
And people make mistakes. So it's in your best interest to roll with it. I mean, you can try to politely correct them, but often, we've all had TOs that were, I don't even want to say not good, but that didn't really know the rules that well, right? That's a thing that happens with a little, part of the reason for this is to try to prevent that, but it's a thing that happens, right? And you just kind of have to roll with it.
We could throw back to, we mentioned him earlier in the cast, Bob's story about
oh god,
his ships not being allowed to move after he revealed all of his dials at the same time.
Yep.
Oh god, I forgot about that one.
And I guarantee you the reason that happened is because he argued himself into it. You just respect your TO. Sorry, even if don't. Okay, let me rephrase that slightly. You don't need to respect your TO. You need to respect the decision your TO makes. And in the military, we used to salute the rank, not the man. I am.
Do you want to elaborate on that story real quick, so that for people who may not know what had happened, because we've all done it. I've done it. You've done it.
It's from memory, so I might get details wrong. So please, no one lambast Bob or the judge involved, whatever. Don't worry about it. It's a fun anecdote. But Bob was flying I'll say a scum list of matching pilot skills. He flipped over all 4 dials, moved all of his ships, and then went to put focus tokens down. And as he was about to place all 4 focus tokens, the opponent said, "You can't do that, it's a missed opportunity," for the first 3. So Bob, they argued back and forth until they'd called a TO. the TO has to rule in the favor of the person who is following the wording of the rules, because that's what TOs have to do. And they hadn't previously agreed verbally or on paper or, blood bonded contracts that if all my ships are doing the same move, do you mind if I do them all at the same time? So the judge ruled that Bob couldn't have his 3 actions. He only got an action for the last ship. So Bob went further and said that that's impossible because I moved this ship and then this ship, but this dial been flipped at the same time, and it eventually got to the point where all of his ships had to not move apart from the last one.
Because they couldn't legally do so because they hadn't completed, the previous ship hadn't completed its.
Yeah, so fun. And it was. You don't have to respect the ruling. Sorry, you don't have to respect the TL, just respect the ruling.
And I guess I would like to note, so I've had similar, nothing as silly as that, but I've had similar issues in the rules question area. Like I am a little infamous for finding fucked up interactions that are clearly not supposed to work this way, but the rules say they do. And there used to be a culture. It was like, oh yeah, obviously that doesn't work like that. But recently, now people are coming up with these rules situations, and then suddenly, the community at large is saying, "Oh, yeah, that's what the rules say, so we're going to do that."
Please stop.
So your absurd rules argument might come back to bite you. Where before it was a useful tool to be like, no, well, that can't be true because look, this is what happens if you follow through with that. Now sometimes you get people that are like, oh yeah, well
they double down on a dumpster fire.
Yeah, it's like, so the rules for game effect don't really work in the rules, so you could argue that game effects don't work, so no one can ever trigger abilities. Obviously, that's not the case, right?
Wait. Take that 2 steps back. How does that work?
So without going too much into the details, the ability queue rules say that game effects trigger before abilities, if I remember right. This is going off memory. I remember mostly that it's broken, not the specifics. But there isn't a definition for game effect that isn't also a player ability. Like, they are not separately defined things, other than a game effect is a nested part of an ability, so you can't trigger effects before abilities, so the whole ability queue doesn't work because you can't put anything into it because you can't have triggered the game effects first because the game effect happens after the ability.
Oh, good lord.
Yeah.
But you know what's really good though? If you just push your ships around to make pew pew noises, X-Wing's a really fun game, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's a blast.
Right? Like the absurd rules game is fun when you're not forcing people to play by your terrible rules. So please don't force people to play by your terrible rules.
Look, even the developers don't play by their terrible rules. They decloak ships 3 forwards. It's fine.
Oh, I guess the last note, if you don't mind me transitioning it really hard, is speaking of rules, there isn't a lot of agreement for what collusion means in X-Wing.
Ooh.
Good.
So, this is a good one.
In fact, there's no real definition for collusion in the rules at all. That being said, hyperspace trials are starting, and worlds invites are on the line, and everyone cares a lot and is really salty.
Everyone cares more than they should.
Right, but so where I'm going with this is, sorry, I'm getting distracted.
It's okay.
So where I'm going with this is, like, if you're running a hyperspace trial, it is very likely that you will have players conceding to other players so that their hyperspace invite, the trial invite, doesn't get wasted, or they want their friend to have it, or whatever. I would just let it happen and not worry about it. As long as people aren't bribing each other, like, hey, I'll scoop if you let my friend win the next game. If somebody is just saying, hey, I already have a world's invite, I'm out, you do you, like, there's no harm, no foul. That being said, that gets you into scary territory. Well, what if we just don't know about it? But yeah, like, there's very little policing we can do on it. And that being said, the easiest example of collusion I can give you, something that's not collusion, is the finals. In the finals of an event, the two players cannot collude because there's no one to collude against. They can do whatever the hell they want with the prizes. Obviously, excluding like, hey, I'll give you $200 to concede to me. But if they go, hey, I'm going to concede, he gets the world's invite, he's given me the other prizes, then cool, neat. Everybody go home, you're done.
Ultimately, once you get to the final table of an event, there is no need for a TO because they can do what they want.
Yep.
Right, unless you're going to be like interfering in their game, which should never be the goal of a TO. Yeah, you're waiting to be called. You should be a passive element to the game. So do whatever you want, man.
So I hate bringing up this chapter in X-Wing history, but are we talking similar situations to like Roanoke, where we had a final
Roanoke did
round?
nothing wrong.
I'm not saying they did. I stand firm in that. It was within the rules. They were allowed to do it.
And it should be in the rules.
Kind of. So the interesting thing is like Roanoke was basically is a lot simpler because it was just, our tournament was round 1, round too many, and it was just so happened to be that like the FFG guidelines were pretty bad for how many rounds you should do, and the exact right number of people dropped such that the last round was meaningless. But you know, like X-Wing judges aren't, or like TOs were pretty new and weren't, and I don't think many people would be willing to be like, oh, we're done, right? Like we have our top 8, and I don't think people would be happy if that was a thing that happened. But that was effectively the situation was, there's just a meaningless last round because the cut had we already had the top 8 players. There's no reason to play another round.
Yep. What I would say is that Magic the Gathering is probably the largest game that has a competitive scene, that has big money on the line. And they allow IDs, so there's nothing wrong with them run tighter events.
Yeah, and that being said, there are a lot of I don't want to say problems.
Magic is not competitive level Magic is a different conversation. Not that there aren't problems, but the problems aren't necessarily with the IDs.
Yeah. No. And there are problems with people like bribing each other for invites to Pro Tour and everything, which is alarmingly similar to where we are now, which is why I hate World Invites so much. But that's a topic for another time.
Yeah.
All right. So did we cover everything you wanted to cover over, Kris?
Yeah. That was mostly it, I think.
That was just to both Chris's. All right. So
we've got the giveaways to do. Well, sorry.
Exactly.
So we have some Patreon giveaways. So we have Paul LaRue sent us last week, gave away the Imperial ones. We have the Rebel cards left. So we got some extra patrons again. Patrick,
we have
Meier.
More.
Yeah, Patrick Meier signed up, so he'll be eligible for this draw. Anyone else who can do? This one's gonna kill me. Nad Mian. Mian. I don't know. I'm terrible at reading, apparently. So now I'm gonna have to physically say it loud because I'm like terrible.
Don't take off the shoes.
We are at a D10 at the moment, Ed.
A D10? I thought we were D12 last time.
Yeah. Yeah, that was right. Because I had the guy who signed up to the DiceHate Patreon by accident. But he's actually moved over now. So
okay, good.
Yeah. I'll double check again because you make me worry. No, we are at 10.
All right, here we go.
Oh, a physical die.
Yeah, we do it. We do it old school, man.
So it's gonna be 5. Number 5.
And it is Patrick. There you go. He's not even actually given us $1 yet. He just signed up. So
congratulations.
We'll bill him for this episode and send him some Polaroid art cards. This is what I was saying off air, Kris. I've got to post him these cards now. He hasn't given me $1 yet. Profit.
Yep. Well, there's the real secret. So you sign up for Lack of Focus Patreon, and then you listen to see if you won or not, and then every month you cancel at the last second if you didn't win, and then
I
reset
charge
the next
per
month.
episode.
So they get charged
Gotcha.
before they hear it.
Yeah.
Here I was thinking I was clever.
You were just not clever enough. I've been stung by that before. When I commissioned the Paul LaRue, Kanan Fighting Inquisitor dual cards, I said I'd give them away to Patreon, so I had some left. So people signed up and then back charged me.
Oh,
nice. Thanks, guys. Thanks.
Sweet.
That was lovely.
I've got some of these rando strain tokens.
Oh, I wonder where this came from.
Oh.
Yeah, some nice acrylic strain. We don't even know what we do yet, but thanks, Kris.
The
so we'll
effects in the article, it must be correct.
Right,
Yeah.
it has to be.
Yes. Yeah, so overseeing works in the article, Kris.
I'd like to note,
All
for the
right.
record, that at all events that I'm the TO for, Overseer Yushin does not have a blank pilot ability. Or an actively harmful pilot ability.
Oh dear. Yes. I concur. I hate myself. So we'll do the same roll again, Ed. D10. Let's put it away again now.
Yeah.
Sorry, I put it away. Number 3.
And Michael, I can read that one. I just posted him a lot of stuff off already. Oh, double dipping on postage. No, wrecked. So Michael, I will be sending you some strain tokens as well, man. Thank you for your. Yeah, I think we've done all of my housekeeping on that regard.
Excellent.
Again, obviously, Patreon money is now not just supporting us actually putting out the show and paying for my editing software for me to be able to do all of this, hosting the podcast, all of that stuff isn't free. You're now donating to a good cause of helping us give Target Lock Hunger an actual domain name that isn't ridiculous. So thank you.
Thanks, guys. Chad, you have a bit that you like to go over before we close out?
Yep. As always, thank everybody for listening and all that. Don't forget, we have the Lack of Focus Facebook page where we usually put up for some questions, even though nobody put up for it this time. A little disappointed in that, but next time
I
we'll
take
get
the blame for that. It's my fault.
You should take the blame. As always, if you want to email us, lackoffocuspodcast@gmail.com. If you're one man short for the next Krayt Cup and you need a ringer, just email us. I might be able to make it down there,
You might know a guy.
Yeah. Obviously, DiceHate on YouTube. You can come watch all of our videos there. Like, share, subscribe, hit notification bell, give us your comments. Tell me and Kris Sheriff what we're doing right. Make fun of Ed. That's all fine and dandy.
That's pretty much all it's for.
Yeah, basically. Audio formats, we're everywhere. So if you listen to audio anywhere, you'll pretty much hear us, except for, just terrestrial radio. I mean, obviously not there, but.
How cool would that be, though?
Yeah, get our own actual radio station.
I was so pleased we actually made it to Spotify and that led us beyond.
Yeah.
That was nice.
And obviously, if you want to help out some good causes and maybe get yourself a little bit of prizes and, keep the guy up there in Canada from going broke. I mean, that would be great if you went to patreon.com/lackoffocus, maybe chipped in a bucket episode, something like that. It'd be really, really appreciated. We really do enjoy, that the fact that we are growing in numbers with our supporters. So thank you, everybody who is supporting us. I'm sure, Kris is, I see Kris nodding. He's like, yep.
I get notifications that we're getting new followers all the time. So the podcast is growing again. Obviously, the community we have from the base of being the old Nova Squadron Radio is still there on the Facebook side of it, but more people are listening, and we are definitely a different style of podcast to what we used to be, and it might be to people's taste, it might not, but we enjoy it, so we'll keep doing it.
We're always having fun. All right, Mr. Allen, always good that you joined us. We have a rule. If you've joined us once, you are invited to join us once again.
is that this rule quickly gets out of hand, you know? Or is this if you get invited once, you get exactly one more?
Rules as written, Kris. It's as we decide. We know it gets out of hand because what happens is I randomly meet Ron Howard and end up doing a show 5 years later with the same people. So yeah. Do you want to talk about anyone who somehow listens to us and doesn't know who you are?
I'm going to be honest, I am out of mental energy.
There is a Venn diagram that one is even smaller than that I am a log.
He doesn't know who he is.
No, like, actually, I want to say thanks for you guys for letting me on. There was a Kris who's new to X-Wing many years ago at this point, which is weird to say. But, you know, I started off listening to what used to be Nova Squadron Radio, and it was a good start. Actually, I was listening to one of your episodes right when I first started playing, and it was I'd gone and played at Gen Con, and Paul said he had fun hanging out with me or something, and it made me happy. So that's my old Nova Squad Radio memory.
Oh, that's cool.
And you always enjoyed me making fun of Ed on the show.
Well, correct.
Always and still does.
All right, so that is going to do it for episode 20. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, apologies for the voice. I will be back in full strength next episode. Until then, guys, fly casual. Thank you once again for joining the Lack of Focus X-Wing podcast. Check out DiceHate Productions for all of the latest episodes, and we'll be looking forward to seeing you again next episode.